What's up, YouTube? It's JackalGoldKick, and in this video, I'm going to be showing my comic book collection. This is another paid request from Larry the Batman fan. Shout out to him. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel, link in the description to it. Now, I have not read any of these comic books, so I won't have anything to say about any of them, but this is the entire collection. There's a lot, so I can only record 30 minutes on Clipchamp, and I can't be bothered to try to learn any other app or place to record videos on computers. So I'm gonna try to be somewhat fast with this because there's a lot of books to go through. So let's get started with this. A lot of these comic books I got from Larry the Batman fan, some of them from Critical Gamer. So up first we have Batman Detective Comics, DC. Pretty cool. There's no back to show, so I'm just gonna show the front. Batman's a cool character. Up next is Ninjak, which is a variant of Valiant Presents. He does look pretty cool. And then there's a back for like something sports related. And then up next we have Exo Man of War, which is a Valiant book. So yeah. And then we have DC Green Lantern, which I think is the Hal Jordan version. I like Green Lantern, but my favorite Green Lantern is John Stewart personally. Probably because I played Justice League Heroes. Up next is Batman Shadow of the Bat, the Joker. Looks pretty cool there. DC, pretty cool. And then I don't know what that's about, but it's nothing to do with it. I don't even know if I'll show the backs because they have nothing to do with the comic, but yeah, Batman's pretty cool. Joker's a really good villain. Up next is Stanley and his monster, DC related. Looks like a pretty cool design. And we have some advertisement for some arcade game, Terminator 2. A really good movie. Yeah, pretty cool. Up next, we have the Uncanny X-Men Marvel Comics. Pretty cool. I don't know if reading books and comics are really my thing. I've never made a full attempt with it as I'm older now, but we'll see where I stand on it when I eventually try it. Up next is Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, Marvel. He's a pretty cool character. I like using him in Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects, which is an underrated superhero game. And I also liked using him in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Up next is Star Wars The High Republic. Never seen any of the Star Wars films yet, so gotta get around to that. Up next is Marvel Knights Wolverine. Pretty cool cover art. Looks like this actually has a back, which that's nice to see for a change. Yeah, Wolverine's a cool character. I like using him in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I'd like to try out the video game Wolverine. What's it called? X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged Edition. Up next is Ultimate Fantastic Four. My favorite character from Fantastic Four has always been the Thing. Based on the games I played, I just always liked him the most. I even like him more than the Hulk personally. I just think he has a lot more personality and funness going for him. Up next is Deathmate Valiants. Yeah, I'm just making sure there ain't a comic stuck to that. All right. And we have another Deathmate Valiant here. And then we have Wildstar. Pretty cool design. The back actually goes with the front, which they should do it with all comic books instead of just having the back be plain. Up next is Shadowhawk, which is Image or something, and pretty cool. I like the name. Up next is Newman. Pretty cool design. The robot looks cool. Wrestling promo on the back. Up next is Cyber Force. Those character designs look pretty cool. Looks like this is Image, whatever that brand is. So pretty cool. Up next is Weapon Zero, another Image related book. Up next is Brigade, another Image related book. Up next is Wildstorm, Image. I will ask a question to Larry the Batman fan, a critical gamer, for watching this. If I try reading these books and I find that I'm not into comics or books, what should I do with these? Let me know. But we'll see where I stand on it. Next is Weapon Zero Image, which definitely my favorite comic book cover art I've seen. That character looks really cool. Up next is Brigade, another Brigade Image. I think the reason I never got into books hardcore is I'm a visual dude. I like movies and video games. Reading books was never something I was hardcore into. But we'll just see where I stand on it nowadays. Up next is Stormwatch. Pretty cool. Up next is another Stormwatch image book. Up next is another Stormwatch image book. So, like I said, I'm gonna read these one day or try out one of them and see where I stand. But if I'm not feeling it, I need to figure out what to do with these because I don't want to hang on to something I won't use. But I gotta see where I stand on books first. Up next, chapter 14, Fire from Heaven, Sigma image. But yeah, I'm not gonna show the back of that because it's like some kind of technically nudity on the back of that, and I could get in trouble for showing that on camera. So I'm just not gonna show the back of that. Up next is Stormwatch image. Yeah, cool character design on the front. I don't know. I never really got into books hardcore. It's just not one of those things I got into. I was more of a person that played video games and watched cartoons and movies and listened to music. I was just never really hardcore into books. Chapter 6, Fire from Heaven, Sigma image. So I don't know. Maybe I'm the wrong person to even have comics. I guess I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where I stand up nowadays. I guess. Next up is Felon, which is something FBI related. That almost looks like Walking Dead art style. Wouldn't be surprised if it's from the same makers. Up next is Wonder Woman DC. Up next is another Wonder Woman. I thought there was another comic stuck to it, but there wasn't. Up next is Codename Strike Force image book or brand, whatever you call it. Up next is Supreme God of Thunder, which looks like Superman Thor combined. He looks pretty cool. Up next is E Mutants, which is not sure what the brand's called. We have another E Mutants book here. I will ask Larry though on Critical Gamer if you guys would be fine with me selling these comics if I decide I'm not really into reading books, because I would just rather these go to somebody that's going to read them if I don't end up reading them or really getting into it. That is, if I don't get into it, I'm asking y'all. Up next is DC Flash. And not that I'm ungrateful for these being sent, I am, but I don't want to keep something I'm not into, because I'm already not super into books to be honest. But we'll see if I change my mind reading books nowadays. But again, like I stated, it's just never something I got into like that. I've only read like American Chillers and Michigan Chillers and some Goosebumps stuff as a kid. Up next is DC Kill the King Flash. They say reading makes you smarter and stuff, but not everything's for everybody, to be honest. Up next is Universe Top Cow. So that's pretty cool cover art. There's the back. Up next is Codename Strike Force, which is an image book. Yeah. Up next is Angela Image, which is like Spawn related. Spawn always seemed cool. Up next is Clemental Special or something, which looks like the Magic School Bus. Up next is another Codename Strike Force image book. Up next is Clemental something, and there's the back. Up next is Memoir, which looks pretty cool. Up next is the Savage Dragon. Up next is Black Ops Image, which looks like the Iron Giant and his friends, as I said before. Up next is Supreme Image. Up next is DC Flash. Up next is Deathmate Image. Then we have Ninjak at the back. Now this next one is the only one I got myself. I think it was from a cereal box or something. I don't forget. I think that's how I got it. Justice League. And it's Justice League to Catch a Thief. So one of the smaller ones. Up next is Judge Dredd DC, which Stallone had a movie of this. It was awful. I never seen the 2012 one, but hopefully it's better. Next up is the Mighty Thor Marvel Comics. Up next is the Sandman Orphis DC. If I'm saying it right. Up next is Wildstar Image. Looks like this got a little damaged. Oh, that happened. We fixed that. There we go. Up next is Super Dinosaur Terror in the Sky, Robert Kirkman Image. Invincible. Never really could get into the show that was based off of myself. Up next is Martian Manhunter DC, which he's a pretty cool character. I do like him. V for Vendetta. I never even knew they had a V for Vendetta book. I thought the movie was eh. I think the mask is cooler than the movie. Up next is Ragaman Revenge is Sweet DC, which he looks pretty cool. Up next is The Fix Impact Comics. Up next is DC Batman. Up next is Justice League JLA for short, DC. Up next is Fall of the Hulks, Incredible Hulk book. Him going up against Doctor Doom. Up next is Super Patriot. Almost couldn't read the text because the American flag colors kind of blinded it a little bit. Up next is the death of the Man of Steel Superman. The text is like backwards for some reason. Bizarro's World. So it looks horror related. DC book. Superman Bizarro's World DC. I don't know why they have Superman backwards. That's kind of strange. A little weird to me, but there you go. Up next is DC Detective Comics, Batman related book. Nothing on the back. Up next is Two-Face, DC book. Yeah, there's a lot of comics here. So if I do decide I'm not really into books after checking some of these out, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with these because I don't want to be a hoarder. It's not something I want to be. Batman, DC, even though I appreciate gifts, I don't want to keep things I'm not going to use. That's stupid to me. That's why I never understood people who they buy clones of games or clones of movies or sealed versions of movies or games. It's like, what's the point in keeping that? You're not playing it. Like, come on. Next up is Suicide Squad DC. Unless you're going to sell it down the line, I guess that's an exception. But other than that, I never understood that stuff. Up next is DC, The Flash. Up next is Marvel Comics Wolverine. Up next is Ultimate X-Men, which looks like Wolverine on the front cover. Sorry about that noise. I live near a road. There's not much I can do about it. Next up is Classic X-Men, Marvel. Up next is the Punisher, Marvel. Up next is DC Green Arrow, which I don't really know a whole lot about Green Arrow, to be honest. Up next is Morbius. Um, yeah, which the movie was, to be honest. Up next is Wolverine side by side with Captain America Marvel Comics. And then up next is DC The Shadow, Helfer and Baker. And then up next is John Byrne's X-Men. And there's the back. I'll try to speed this up because I still ain't even got through some of them, and I don't want to run out of time here. The Spectacular Spider-Man Marvel. Nothing on the back, so I'm not going to show the back. Um, we have the Amazing Spider-Man Marvel. Detective Comics Batman, DC. We have a James Bond 007 book. Um, the Punisher War Journal with Spider-Man and Marvel related. Surprised they ain't did that into a movie yet. Up next is the Sandman Convergence or something, DC related. Looks kind of crazy. Still ain't seen Batman Returns, but I like the first one, Michael Keaton. Up next is the Mighty Thor Marvel Comics. You get the rest of these. There's a few more left, and we'll be done. Next up is Captain America Marvel. Up next is Marvel Daredevil. Up next is Wet Worms, which that character looks pretty cool. Or no, Wet Works. Oops, got the title wrong. Up next is Blade Vampire Nation, Blade comic book, which I'll probably keep this one out and test read it and see where I think of books, because I like Blade. Up next is X Factor Marvel 25th anniversary. Up next is Turok Dinosaur Hunter, Valiant. And then we have some comic book bags for the comic books to keep them protected and stuff like that, I think. Up next, we have G.I. Joe, which I had no idea that was Marvel related. Up next is Elektra Marvel. That's on the back. And then lastly is Azrael, Agent of the Bats, DC. Yeah, so that's it for comic book collection and all the comic books I have. Thanks to Larry the Batman fan for doing the paid request. Appreciate it. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Link in the description. If anyone else is listening to paid request, let me know. Yeah, like I said, the only books I read growing up was Goosebumps, Michigan Chillers, American Chillers. Those were fine, I guess, but just never got into books like that. So I'll see where I stand on it, but I won't see a point keeping these if I'm not really into books, because at that point I'm just going to be a hoarder, and I don't see much appeal in that. So it's like keeping a car you don't drive. It don't really make sense to me, but that's it for this video. Peace out. And thanks to Larry the Batman fan and Critical Gamer for sending these things, though. Don't get that twisted, but peace out.